I just first want to clear up the fact that you indicated that we worked together for the good part of a day on this, and I don't recall that happening. So would you tell me when that happened?
Well, I'm sorry that you don't recall that I gave you a copy of an amendment and gave you quite some time to look at it. I think it was literally all day before I came back and asked you what you thought of it, if you were willing to take it or not willing to take it. And you said you were, and as I recall, we shook hands on it.
I don't recall that,
You do recall we shook hands on it, though.
No, I do not, but that's okay. You and I can have different memories about what happened. But let me just also ask you, in what way do you believe this is a scope of practice bill?
Because this bill essentially impairs a health profession board from being able to regulate its own practice and acts committed by people outside of their own licensees. They now have to go to a different organization and get them to do it for them. And that is not, and as you said, that is clearly not what happens in the case of somebody who's not licensed at all. And so what I don't understand is why we need a two-tiered system, which is what this bill clearly
Actually,
creates.
I will say that we're actually looking at a one-tiered system here, which is where, would you not agree that a licensing board has the actual expertise to license the people they license? They set the rules, they provide the regulations. They're the ones that are totally responsible for the safe and competent practice of that particular form of healthcare provision.
I do agree with you, but I also would submit to you that we're not talking about their scope of practice.
Indeed,
we're talking
we are.
about one of their licensees practicing in somebody else's sandbox.
And that is exactly
And that is not something that they have
Excuse me.
expertise over.
Excuse me, but that is exactly what scope is about. Scope is about, as a nurse, staying within the scope of what the Nurse Practice Act says is able to be practiced, and the Board of Nursing is the one that governs that and ensures that that's the case. So it is exactly the appropriate body to have the knowledge and expertise to know if a person is practicing within or has veered outside of that scope of practice that they actually regulate.
So
is that not the case?
You're saying then that it's the nursing board's responsibility to decide whether something that the dental practice board decides is the practice of dentistry is actually the practice of dentistry, or whether today it happens to be the practice of nursing.
Actually,
that is the scope of practice issue.
What I am saying is that the nursing board for nurses, the chiropractic board for chiropractors, whichever particular entity it is, indeed does have the knowledge and expertise to know if someone has ventured out of the scope of what they are licensed to provide.
And I would submit to you that I think that the board that is charged with supervising that, let's just call it backyard.
The gentleman's time has expired.